Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Jacket News Network. Each week we deliver school and community news to you from room 254 of Oxford High School. I'm Jackson Randall.
And I'm Jacob Anderson. Let's get started. 20 years ago, on September 11, 2001, America witnessed one of its biggest terrorist attacks in history. 2,977 souls were lost in the attacks. Since then, the nation came together in unity, and it takes time to remember those that were taken this week. Members of JNN interviewed OHS staff that recalled the event. So, where were you and how did you find out about the 9/11 attacks?
It was 2001. I had just graduated high school, and I had moved to Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee, and followed a girl down there to go to college. About a month into school, my freshman year of college, I was actually in a history class. It was world history, and it was a small university, so actually I had the president of the university as my teacher that morning. And just probably about 15-20 minutes into class, I guess, she had a knock at the door, and she stepped out in the hall and said that there was, it was all quiet, so we didn't know what was going on. And so she asked us all to get up. She said that there was something going on in New York, and just down the hall, like it was sort of like Oxford's building, all of our classes were in one building. We walked to the center of the building, and there was kind of a lobby where they had a TV and several couches, and so started like one class at a time, all kind of started hovering around watching a big screen TV in that room. And so now that's where I was, and we watched it through I guess both of the towers being hit, until I think it was shortly after that I ended up walking away from that building.
I was in 7th grade, Miss Raffanelli's class. It was actually my history class, and I remember a lot of students being checked out. So this was before they told us anything. I just remember the office coming over the intercom and checking kids out like every couple of minutes and kind of getting this sense of something wasn't right. And then our teacher stepped out of the room, and a couple minutes later came back, and she had one of those rolly carts with the TV on it, like back in the day, and turned on the news. And as a 7th grader, I just remember seeing smoke coming up from the buildings and just feeling, for probably the first time in my life, just terror, fear, and this kind of undescribable hate that I didn't understand where it was coming from or kind of how to place it. So that's definitely a day I will not ever forget.
Whoa.
Okay, so I was working at Jacksonville State University with environmental policy and information. And I remember it because we were moving our office to a different building that day. So we were all busy, and we had one tiny little TV set up on top of a filing cabinet. And we always listened to the news because that was our job with environmental policy, to know what was going on. So it was obviously on the news. And when we saw the first plane hit, the footage of that, we were watching and in disbelief, just stunned. And we really, like a lot of other people in the country, thought that it was just a tragic accident. Maybe a pilot had a heart attack or something, and we were like, oh, this is terrible. But then we saw the next plane hit, and immediately I can remember my boss at the time, Pete Conroy, he just went, drop what you're doing, go home. And that was sort of the idea, was we were in the middle of busy, but family came first. You had to get to your family. And so we did. We shut the door, walked away, turned on the news. I drove all the way home, got on the phone with my mom and asked her and my father to go pick up Chelsea, because she was just 4 years old at preschool, and Mom had said, Dad's already on his way. So we got back to the house and continued to watch the news. It was sort of a surreal time too, because 9/11 is my grandmother's birthday. So we still had a celebration for her, but it was very somber, and it was just a a weird day where just all your emotions were running wild. But we knew that we were surrounded by our family, and that's what was important at the time.
I was currently a teacher here at Oxford High School, and I was in my classroom on the 4th floor in the main building a long time ago, old building on the hill, and Mr. Phillips, one of our assistant principals, came in and my classroom, and he said, "Miss Ward, I need to talk to you in the hall." And he said, something terrible's happened. The Pentagon's been attacked, and there's planes circling in New York, and they don't know what's happening. And I was like terrified. I didn't know how to respond. And so we turned on the TV and started watching in our classrooms, and it was just a crazy day. I mean, like, we just didn't even know how to respond. It was really all different.
Do you know anyone that was personally affected by the 9/11 attacks?
Initially, I would say the answer is no, but my wife and I 3 years ago went on a trip to New York City, and while we were there on a Sunday morning, we actually went to church over in Brooklyn at a church we've never been to before, and it was a very small church, but there was a man, a Filipino man, who actually works in the medical field up there. And he was giving us all of his background, which was very interesting in itself. But one of the things that he told me was his whole family, he was raised by his mother, his whole family moved within a month of 9/11 because of the amount of dust and smoke that had just like settled down like through neighborhoods, and they couldn't live in the apartment where they had lived because of all the dust, and they were breathing it in. So they actually moved across Manhattan to Brooklyn, where his mom and all of his family continues to live today. So they migrated because of I guess because of how much that affected their living environment.
I was so little that I did not personally have connections, but my mom worked for an advertising agency who had an office in the Twin Towers. So I remember her being greatly affected because people that she had worked with for a while or communicated with regularly or met with in New York, or they would come to Atlanta where we lived at the time, they either lost people they worked with or were suffering greatly because of what happened. So me personally, no, but my mom did work with several people that were there, and some made it and some didn't.
My boyfriend's brother was at the Pentagon where he worked, but he was in a section of the Pentagon that wasn't damaged. But he talks about, just immediately going into lockdown and trying to help people and trying to secure the situation, and the hours that followed, that it was just very disorienting.
I found out that day, actually, that one of my students, her mom was in New York for a training. She was a nurse, and she ended up having to stay in New York and help with the casualties in the hospitals there.
Would you say to our generation who never experienced the 9/11 attacks, what could we learn from it?
Ultimately, it's just don't ever forget the seriousness of relationships, and how whether that's a one-on-one relationship or your family with another family or a nation versus a nation and another nation. In this case, we know it was terrorists that attacked us, but terrorists are harbored by nations that don't always get along with the United States very well, and so we have to make sure we elect politicians and think about relationships, not just on a one-on-one level, but a national level, and how we can ensure things like that don't happen again while protecting both our own people and the people of the world.
It's really hard to explain because it's more a feeling. Mm-hmm. Like, I would never, ever, ever want y'all or any generation or any people anywhere to feel what happened that day, like to experience it personally, but trying to teach it to people who weren't there, who weren't alive. It almost just kind of feels impersonal teaching it to people that weren't able to experience it, and then knowing that like someone like me has such a deep connection and has such strong feelings about it. So I guess to me, it's more of like a feeling I want to be able to convey to y'all. So it's like, no, I never want anybody to go through that, but if I could convey that kind of, I don't know, just that feeling of unknown and kind of terror, and feel just the feeling I think everybody around that day had, I would like to be able to convey that.
First is, I hope that you never have to. But second is, in the hours that followed, it was just all the stages of grief. So there's shock and there's disbelief, and then it turns to anger. And that's a normal process, but during that anger, there were a lot of things that happened that were against different people of different cultures. And I want you guys to be able to separate and say there are more people that want good in this world than bad, and not take out your anger on any specific group until you have all the facts together and until you can process the grief before you take drastic actions. And I hope you never have to go through that, but
That we have a very resilient country, that we come back from tragedy and we come together to help one another, and that it changed us, because I think for a long time we were very divided, and the only bright side to 9/11 was that it brought us together as a country.
This year's homecoming theme is There's No Place Like Homecoming. JNN's Ashanti Ruffin is here to give us all of the details: dress-up days, floats, homecoming queen elections, and more.
What's up, Yellow Jackets? My name is Shanti Ruffin, and I'm going to be your guide on how we do homecoming at Oxford High School. First things first, when is homecoming? Homecoming week this year is going to be from September 13th to September 17th. It's meant to be a fun, eventful week for students and staff alike, with dress-up days, outside activities, parades, and more. This homecoming is going to be spent competing against Pell City on the 17th. The theme for this year is There's No Place Like Homecoming, inspired by the classic movie The Wizard of Oz. Events and activities for this week are Spirit Dress, the class door contest, Friday Fun Day displays, senior parade, Footwork, a community parade, and homecoming queen and court. One of the many fun parts of homecoming is the dress-up days. Students can have fun and be creative within the theme of the day. The spirit dress for the week is as follows. Monday, not in Kansas anymore, country versus country club, yeehaw. Tuesday, Tin Man Tuesday, dressed like a character from The Wizard of Oz. Wednesday, Twister Twin Day, a student and classmate dressed alike. Thursday, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Each grade and faculty wear a specific color. 9th grade wore green, 10th grade wore yellow, 11th grade wore orange, 12th grade wore red, and staff wore blue. Friday, follow the gold brick road. Everyone wore school colors. Please remember to stay in dress code when dressing up. Next up is the door display contest. The door contest is an event where you decorate your third period teacher's door for the theme of the homecoming. Paper to cover the door is located in the teacher workrooms on the first floor of the main building and the first floor of the college building. If your class wins the contest, then you'll get a free Chick-fil-A breakfast on Monday, September 20th. Upcoming is the Friday Fun Day, where English teachers and classes will compete on the field behind the stadium and build displays that follow the homecoming theme. These displays will be judged based on the accuracy to the theme, creativity, and workmanship. Work will begin Thursday night after the parade and pep rally. Winners will be decided on Thursday during 6th period. Students that would like to participate will pay $2 to the English teacher and will be given a pass to go. The money collected will be used to buy the supplies to make the display. Now, on to the senior parade footwork. Thanks to the OFD, senior parade floats will be built at their facility. Senior class officers will meet with Mr. Gallagher on Monday to create a plan for the event. The administrative team and select English teachers will rotate to ensure that the building of the float is done safely and efficiently. Work on the float will begin the week of homecoming and will be supervised from 5 to 8 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday. A big part of homecoming week is the community parade, happening on Thursday, September 16th. The OH's admin team, along with Ms. Poe, Ms. Singleton, and all new male teachers will help in supervising the parade. Finally, homecoming queen and court. Recently, students voted for homecoming court members for their class. The results are as follows. For freshmen, the winners were Nicole Boyd, Akira Davis, Lillian Kazaya, and Chloe Page. For sophomores, Ashlyn Burns, Haley Garcia, Naomi Gray, and Tam Sterling. For juniors, Tegan Brand, Keziah Mickler, Hannah Grace Robbins, and Kinley Shaddix. For seniors, Zelda Bushy, Alex Martinez-Reyes, Ali Moreau, Nia Twyman, and Ella Wilson. Congratulations to the 2021 Homecoming Court winners. More details will be released to teachers. In the meantime, have a safe, fun homecoming week. Remember, there's no place like homecoming, and go Big O.
Thanks, Ashanti.
Now let's check in with Jordan for OHS Sports.
Jackets, I'm Jordan Stevens. Let's take a look into Oxford Athletics. Last week, our Oxford Yellow Jacket football squad played Scottsboro. Oxford opened the first quarter leading 3-0. During the second quarter, Jordan Dobbins ran it in for a touchdown, giving us a 10-0 lead. Scottsboro came back with a touchdown, but the Yellow Jackets came back with a screen pass from Kamari McClellan to Amari Carroll for a 62-yard touchdown. At halftime, Oxford led 17-7. Towards the end of the third quarter, Miguel Mitchell blocked a field goal attempt from Scottsboro and ran it in for a touchdown. At the end of the game, the Yellow Jackets took the win 24-7. Tonight, make sure to go support our Yellow Jackets at home against Southside at 7. For volleyball, last Tuesday they beat Pell City 3-0. On the season, they are currently 3-6. Their next game is Saturday against Hokes Bluff Eagles in Hokes Bluff. Our cross-country team had a meet last Saturday in Oxford. The girls team placed 7th overall, with Katie Kerr placing 4th in the race with a time of 21 minutes and 34 seconds. The boys team placed 5th overall, with Evan Somers placing 10th with a time of 18 minutes and 10 seconds. Their next meet is this Saturday in Lineville at 8 a.m. That's all we have for sports this week. Now let's head back to the studio.
Thanks, Jordan.
The J&N crew decided to spice things up this season by introducing a new segment called Temperate Individuals.
This week we'll continue our new segment called OHS Newbies, where we will introduce to you the new faculty and staff members of OHS. Let's take a look.
OHS Newbies!
My name is Sandra Bess.
Shantae Chapman.
My name is Natalie Wilson.
My name is Marcy Hall.
I really enjoy OHS. I really like the diversity that I'm seeing here, and I like how the students are well behaved.
Oh, I love it. It's exciting. I've been in different high schools, and you guys by far has the most state-of-the-art, modernized high school.
I love being at OHS. This is my first year here, but it's my 20th year in the Oxford City School System, but I'm very happy here.
I'm loving OHS. I was excited about being asked to come here, and so far it's been everything that I thought it would be.
I came to OHS because I really wanted a change from a previous job.
Well, I live 6 minutes away, and I am, my family went to school here, and my cousin, she was the first black to even work at Oxford High School, and she used to tell us that all the time. So this is basically home for me.
So I've been thinking about making a change for the last few years, and everything just kind of worked out this year so that everything fell into place, and I decided to come to OHS.
I say fate brought me to OHS, and the desire to escape the blue ocean down at the bottom of the hill.
Fun fact that I think is that I enjoy riding motorcycles.
I love to have fun. I do. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I like to have a great time. I love to travel. I love students. I love children. As you guys can see, I'm a school teacher. I've been teaching 22 years. And I love to sing and dance.
One fun fact about me is that I actually went to Oxford High School and graduated from Oxford High School, and now I'm teaching here.
One fun fact most people don't know, I was voted class clown of my senior class back in 19.
I I became a teacher because I was driven and had a passion for working with students who had disability or students who had any type of special needs. And I just always enjoy working with students because I always thought that I could make a big difference in their life.
My aunt, her name is Ida Romine. She was a PE teacher at Anniston High School years ago. And I love the way she interacted with her students. She was the cheerleader sponsor at the Anniston High School many years ago. And they used to come to her house, they used to hang out with her, and she always made sure they had something to do on the weekends. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so I always wanted to fall into her footsteps. So she was my inspiration of being a teacher.
So as a little girl, I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher because of some really great teachers that I had. So I decided to be an elementary school teacher. So I taught kindergarten for about 11 years. And then I became the media specialist at Oxford Elementary School. And like I said, this is my 20th year in the Oxford City School System, but my first year at Oxford High School.
So encouraging people, and at this level, I can do that a lot.
That's all we have for this week of Jacket News Network. Be sure to check back here for weekly for more episodes.
Also, follow us at OHS Jacket Media on all of our socials to stay up to date on all that is happening at Oxford High School. Have a good week and
Go Big Go!